friends, I'm so happy you're here. Welcome to the final level of this course. This part consists of a series of real-life drawings and examples where I show you how I use all the tools you've learned so far during this course. Before we start, you have to remember that every drawing is different. So try not to think of it as a step-by-step process, because every reference is a different challenge to draw. That's why it's so important to have as many tools as possible in your arsenal, so you can draw any reference you want. What I mean by this is that everyone will have a different and unique way of drawing something. And now that you know all the tools, it's important to pay close attention to your reference before you start to draw them. Look at it and notice what catches your eye first. It might be a shape, the movement in your reference, or an angle. But whatever it is that catches your eye, that's where you want to start. And then spend time determining the second thing that catches your eye, and so on and so on. You want to focus on what you see in your reference, because that will determine how you should start your drawing. In this part, you'll see a series of examples of me and what I choose to do with a different set of references, so you can get an idea of what the process should look like for you. If you want to follow along, you can find all the links to the reference I used during this course in the extra files you got. Keep in mind that improving your art takes time, and the more time you spend practicing, the better you will be. Continue to be patient and kind to yourself. And remember that your skills will continue to improve and improve with time. Try your hardest not to compare yourself to other artists. This is your journey, so compare yourself to your own previous drawings. Take time to honor and appreciate your own improvement. I mean, you can always admire other artists and see what it is in their art that you like and that you can bring into your own art. But admiring and comparing yourself are two different things. Another thing I wanted you to get from this level is choosing the right reference for you to draw. Of course, there are a few things that are easier at first, but I like to believe that drawing and improving your art should be incredibly fun. Don't get me wrong, it can also be hard at some points, but it should always be fun. Drawing shouldn't feel like a chore. I remember when I was learning how to get better at drawing, I got some teachers that asked me to draw particular things that maybe I didn't feel like so much. Like still lifes, for example. And this did help me a lot, because drawing and studying still lifes is very valuable. But it could sometimes feel a little bit like a chore to me. So I would practice still lifes, but in my free time I would spend some time looking at reference photos, just scrolling through them. And anytime one of these images would catch my eye in any way, I would save it. With time I realized that the reference that would catch my eye the most were usually portraits and animals. And at the time, I felt like drawing portraits was a bit too challenging, because there are a few extra rules you need to learn to draw portraits. So I would just draw animals at the beginning. So take time to find references that catch your eye, and find something that you really feel like drawing. This will always make the drawing process easier. The way I go nowadays about picking my reference is by scrolling through sites like Pexels or Unsplash.com. and seeing what image makes me smile or stands out to me. I don't think about it too much though, because this can also end up being a procrastination trap. So I try to draw the first image that catches my attention or that makes me smile. That way I won't spend hours mindlessly looking through photos, and I'll get to drawing. Another useful thing to do is to keep a folder with all the images that stand out to you. This way, you won't have to look for a reference every time you want to draw, but you'll have your own little archive to pull your references from. Just make sure that the reference you choose is something that you can draw with your current skill level. It should be challenging, but if you feel like the reference is out of your current skill level, try not to get frustrated. You can save that reference in your folder and come back to it after you've had some more practice. One thing that I try to keep in mind when I'm drawing is my own artistic interpretation and style. Of course, I spend time looking and drawing what I see, measuring and seeing the angles. But I also take some liberties when it comes to rendering my work. This is only my style at the moment. It's not the right way, but it is my way. I found that I like to have a focus point in my illustrations that has a lot of details and is rendered very realistically. And everything else that is not on my focus point is rendered a bit less. I try to keep a balance with this. Before, I tried really hard to over-render every single part of my drawings, because I thought that will make them look better. But I've learned that I like it better when I establish a focus point and I leave the rest of my drawing a bit less rendered. Because this way, all the attention of the viewer will be directed to my focal point. Plus, you give space for the eye to rest and travel around. I encourage you to try this and see how you feel about it. Finding your own style of drawing will take you time and practice, just like everything. But with every drawing you make, you'll get closer and closer to finding it. You'll also get a video where I'll show you how to get the most out of your digital brushes. Nowadays, I draw mostly on Procreate, but I feel this video will be very helpful to you if you're into any kind of digital drawing, because I'll show you what I do when I get a new brush set and how I organize my brushes so that they're accessible to me when I'm being creative. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get started.